From the Georgia WeatherNet Storm Center, live severe weather coverage starts right now.
Good evening. The time is 10:08. I'm meteorologist KJ Allen here in the Georgia WeatherNet 24-hour Storm Center with live severe weather coverage. We have no tornado warnings to talk about. I know we go live with all the tornado warnings. We do not have any tornado warnings, not expected to see any as we move through the late night hours tonight and overnight into tomorrow morning. But severe thunderstorm warnings, that is a different story. And these are some very strong severe thunderstorms that are beginning to move in to the CSRA now in the eastern portion of Georgia. We do have a couple of warnings to talk about. We'll get to those in just a second. We have had severe thunderstorm warnings in southwest Georgia all day with storms that have moved up from Florida, moved into the southwest portion of the state. So we're looking at a few around the Albany area right now and storms north of Atlanta up in the North Georgia mountains. We've had several severe thunderstorm warnings in that direction as well. A few popped up out toward the Carrollton area west of Atlanta, but we have a pretty decent storm right now over Carroll County, but that's not severe at the moment. But we had also a severe thunderstorm warning up around the Alpharetta area a little bit earlier as well. But let's just get to what we have on the board right now. So we're looking at the composite radar that's just showing the entire state of Georgia. We'll go into northeast Georgia first and show you where our storm is. Basically in southern Habersham County now. We have a pretty strong cell here. The reflectivity coming in bright right over Baldwin, just south of Cornelia. So that's right on the Banks Habersham County line. So severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for portions of Stevens County, Habersham County, and then into parts of Oconee County, South Carolina until 10:30. Just added a severe thunderstorm warning just to the south there to cover portions of Banks County, that northern portion. So again, right up to Baldwin, heading down 441 here. So we've got the higher elevations there. Eastern Continental Divide cuts right through where the storm is right now, and this goes until 10:30 as well. And that storm producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, possibility of quarter-size hail with that. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Franklin and Hart County. So this storm is located near Royston and Franklin Springs. That looks like it's losing a little bit of strength. Again, we're looking at the lower resolution radar. We can take a look at the high-res radar. Let's go ahead and take that right now, and we'll just flip around to the different radar sites. We're going to have to use a lot of radar sites because these storms are spread all over the state of Georgia. So just bear with us as we load up this information. We'll take a look at the site out of Greenville, South Carolina here. Yeah, so again, this cell is starting to weaken a great deal. It started coming down Highway 17 here, moving in toward Royston, came in from Cannon down toward Royston, and starting to lose a lot of that strength, but still producing some heavy rainfall, Franklin Springs and out toward the west there. But that is still technically a severe thunderstorm warned storm. Let's take a look again here at this high-res data now coming in on our storm up around Baldwin. Yeah, that is really something. Very strong reflectivity. So we're looking at the potential of some significant hail with this storm just east of 441 now, just inside of Banks County there, just to the south of Baldwin, above Homer. There's Homer, county seat of Banks County. And so we're looking at that cell here, there in that northern portion of Banks County, and also some strong reflectivity heading down toward I-85. So this is going to be up just inside Franklin County, right there along the Banks-Franklin County line. That's not severe at the moment, but we'll see if we get an additional warning issued for maybe central Franklin County here as things go on. Let's get down into the CSRA. This is the big part of the storm we're really monitoring. This has been moving down through central South Carolina, moving pretty much south. We're kind of waiting for that motion to start moving more toward the west, but this cluster of thunderstorms basically moving due south for the last couple of hours and still continuing to do so. So that's why we have a little higher threat now from Sylvania, possibly in the Statesboro, down into Effingham County, as these storms are going to be crossing the state line here over the next hour or so and moving into that part of the world. So we're going to watch that. But we do have a severe thunderstorm warning here. This is going to be for Richmond County and Burke County. Let's get the details on this one. This goes until 11:15. So we can see the strong reflectivity coming in basically Augusta and then west, heading out into a western Richmond County and just above Hepzibah now. That's going to be moving in toward Hepzibah. Blythe, you're going to be right on the edge of that. That move through Grovetown. Some very, very heavy rain and some hail was possible there over Grovetown according to the radar. Haven't seen any reports on hail in the Grovetown area, but we did get a report from North Augusta Road, and take a look at the picture of that here. We can go full screen with that, and there it is. So that is is that a dime there, or is that a penny? That is, that's an odd looking coin there. Either way, close to dime or penny size hail in the North Augusta Road area in Augusta. So just wanted to share that with you. And we'll see more hail reports, I'm sure, coming out of this particular cell here in the Augusta area. It's going to be moving through Richmond County, heading down toward Burke County. Also, severe thunderstorm warning. Let's flip over. Ooh, wait, look at that. Some very strong reflectivity. We'll get a little better shot of this out of the Charleston radar site. Let's flip over here, and we'll take a look at this. So a lot of these warnings are inside South Carolina, but we are looking at some very strong reflectivity over I-95 here in South Carolina, but then into the state of Georgia. We do have a portion of Screven County here. Northeast Screven County is in a severe thunderstorm warning, and this goes until 11 o'clock. All right, so basically the northern half of Screven County until 11 o'clock for that severe thunderstorm warning. And let's take a look at our cells in southwest Georgia now, and we'll check in on those. And again, we're going to have to flip around on the radar site, so just be patient with me. This is going to be one of those nights. We may be able to settle on the Jeffersonville radar for a little while and just let that one ride and see how it goes. But I just want to get you the very, very best, highest resolution picture of these storms. So I'm going to have to flip around and use about 4 different radar sites to make that happen. So severe thunderstorm warning here over Dawson. So we're in Terrell County, over into Lee County, Leesburg, you're in there as well. And then heading up eastern Sumter County there. We have a few of those just dropped off, as you can see, in parts of Dooley County, also in our severe thunderstorm warning here in the northern part of this cluster. But this is multiple thunderstorms here altogether. This particular severe thunderstorm warning goes until 10:30. I also want you to notice the way these storms are moving. These storms here in southwest Georgia do have that east to west flow. This is very unusual. If you are following the weather at all here in the state of Georgia and throughout the southeast and most of the United States, with the exception of Florida. Florida has a little different flow of weather, but in the 47 states here anyway, excluding Florida, our westerlies will push these thunderstorms mainly from west to east. But because of just some changes in the atmosphere and some dynamics in the upper levels, we have the flow going from east to west. So this just kind of throws a whole lot of things off. And we also mentioned that sometimes when these storms are moving against the grain, they can be a lot more powerful as well. And so that's why we just have that little higher threat of severe weather throughout the state of Georgia as we move through the evening and overnight hours tonight. The other thing we have, which is fairly unusual for this time of year, is a lot of instability. When we get to these really hot days of summer, obviously we have some instability there in the atmosphere, and just that hot air is going to allow those warm, moist partials of air to rise, and we'll get those thunderstorms that will pop up pretty much every day. So no big surprise there, but we have fairly low instability across the state. That's been the big difference with this particular system today. We've had very, very high instability. It almost seems a little bit more like spring or in maybe early fall or middle of fall with those instabilities levels, but in addition to that, all that heat and humidity. So you factor that in with the higher instability, and that's why we have our strong risk of our severe thunderstorms as we continue moving here through the late night hours tonight. Usually things are dying down after the sun sets, but that's not going to be the case. So we do have a couple of severe thunderstorm watches to tell you about. Let's get to those. Let me take a look at another radar site here. I just want to show you the motion of the storms in South Carolina. Again, they're not really moving east to west as much as our storms in southwest Georgia. These are still basically moving south. And we'll get a couple more frames here going. Maybe we're starting to get a little bit of that curl starting to curl in toward the west here finally as it's moving toward the Savannah River. But we can still see that it's got that southerly flow going on those storms. So we're just about to see this big cluster of storms really take hold of the state of Georgia, crossing the Savannah River. So just buckle in and get ready to go from Burke County, Screven County, Effingham County, Bullitt County. We're going to see these storms moving in over the next little bit. I'm going to be right here to track them. So some good news. Let me just see. Yeah, we do have a considerable tag. I was just going to say a lot of these warnings, we haven't had the considerable tag on them, but we do have this particular severe thunderstorm warning in South Carolina. So this is covering portions of Allendale. It had Beaufort and Carlton, Hampton counties were in there, and we have that considerable tag. So that means we could have winds in excess of 70 miles per hour with this cluster of storms here over Walterboro, South Carolina. Again, moving right along the interstate here, beginning to move toward the Georgia state line. Got a little ways to go before it makes it into Georgia, but if it holds together, and it looks like it will, and again, we have plenty of instability in the atmosphere to keep these storms going, we'll be watching this cell continuing to cruise down the interstate and possibly heading there into northern Chatham County, and could be affecting Savannah, at least this part of the storm here that's really the bright reflectivity. The rest of this, as I mentioned, we'll be continuing to move in towards Screven, Effingham County, and up into Burke County as well. All right, let's get to the severe thunderstorm watches, because we do have 2 watches out there. One issued just a minute or 2 before we went live here on the Georgia Weather Net. So let's talk about them. First of all, the one that was issued a little bit earlier this evening. This is for Northeast Georgia over to the CSRA. This goes until midnight tonight. A few counties were added to this down toward the southeast. Added all of 2 counties down around the Statesboro area. That went until midnight. Now, Statesboro itself, this is under the new watch that was issued just a little while ago, and this goes until 4 a.m. So this is a big chunk of the state. It does cover Atlanta, Fulton County, the south suburbs, down to Columbus, Albany, you're in there, Blakely, Valdosta, Brunswick and the Golden Isles, Savannah, as I mentioned, Statesboro is in there, Douglas, Alma, Macon, Warner Robins, all in this severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 4 a.m. So I'm hoping we're not going to be sitting around here until 4 tracking any really, really bad thunderstorms, but that potential is there through the overnight hours. So they just need to remain weather aware. And I think the Weather Service, they're kind of hesitant about issuing this additional watch, kind of waited a little bit later to do this, just because it looked like the storms are really going to stay off to the east. That big cluster of storms we're talking about, we'll pull it back up here on radar. The hope was maybe it would just stay and just hug the Georgia state line, but it does look like that's going to pull in a little bit. We're going to see these cells continue to pop up as we move through the late night and overnight hours tonight as well. So that's why we still have that potential of those storms to go severe as we move through the overnight hours tonight. And this just gives you a good sign that the atmosphere is cooking and ready to go when you see all these little dots that are popping up here and there. Basically, it's like boiling water. When you see those little bubbles start to pop up, you know the water is at that boiling point, and the atmosphere is a fluid. Air is a fluid, just like water is a fluid, and that's exactly what's going on here. We're boiling over, and we're seeing these little bubbles start to pop up here and there, and we're going to see this continue as we move through the next several hours. So let's revisit our active storms on the board. Good shot here coming out of the Columbia radar. We'll go full screen with it, and we're looking at some strong reflectivity there just above US 1 coming into Richmond County. And we can take a couple of roads here and just show you where these storms are. So around 44th Street, there's Range Road, just to the east of Range Road. Also decent reflectivity coming in, as I mentioned, in the western portion of Richmond County. Range Road kind of winds and meanders there in that part of the county. And then moving into northern Burke County is where the storms are beginning to cross as well, starting to cross the county line, again, right around the Blythe community, but still very heavy rain, possibility of that hail, especially here in western Richmond County. Let's see if we have a hail estimate. Yeah, we're showing the possibility of 1 inch in diameter hail just above Blythe, again, right along US 1, so we can see it here on the reflectivity. Let me see if I can take a look at the, we can show a hail core. Yeah, there we go. pretty good shot here. So this is just the radar estimating that reflectivity coming back and seeing that very strong reflectivity lofted up in the atmosphere. So just assuming that that's hail, and that's probably a very strong assumption. So this is what we're looking at. So just above Blythe, there's that second hail core that we were talking about that we could see on the reflectivity on the radar. And we see that just a little bit closer into town. But still at least staying outside the Bobby Jones Expressway area, and they're in that western portion of Richmond County. So this is going to be just pretty close here to the McDuffie County line, up toward the Columbia County line, but again, just inside of Richmond County. Let's go back to the reflectivity and see what we have. And we'll get you some specific updates. I just want to kind of give you a little visit from around the state here. And we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning here. So this is going to, I believe this is coming out of the Atlanta office, is why this one is, yeah, this one's out of the Atlanta office. The rest of this comes out of Columbia up here around Augusta. So the Atlanta office now issuing a severe thunderstorm warning associated with this same storm, and this is going to go until 11 p.m. This is for southwestern Warren County, northeastern Glasscock County, and northeastern Jefferson County. So all where those three counties intersect, that's where we have our severe thunderstorm warning until 11 o'clock. We're showing the thunderstorms, again, mainly in western Richmond County with the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So if you're in Wren, Stapleton, Matthews, Bastonville, and Stellaville, you need to be ready for this severe thunderstorm. Doesn't have the considerable tag on it, so that's good news. But still, very, very strong thunderstorm there. And you can see it's kind of broken off. This little part of the storm is really broken off from this really ugly portion of the storm. So that's kind of some good news and bad news. The bad news part of it is it's not competing with these other storms. So we're getting this warm, moist, unstable air feeding in, coming basically up from Burke County and then feeding into the storm. That's why it is so strong right now. All right, I want to check in on Wilkes County. You know, we always have a lot of great folks checking in from Washington and that area. So everything is quiet right now. We do have some cells moving in right over the Elbert-Wilkes County line, starting to move in toward Tignall right now, but that's not anything severe, just some moderate rain coming in, maybe a few little claps of thunder coming in with that. And again, everything's moving in from the north now. We usually watch these cells come in from the west. That's not going to be the case as we continue over the next several hours. These storms are going to drop in from the north and then start moving toward the west as they move in. And we're already starting to see that happen with this big cluster out in South Carolina. So we do have some more thunderstorms up to the north here. So this is going to continue to drop in as well. But for the most part, let me go to the composite radar and just want to show you, we're going to connect the dots here on the storms. Here we go. For the most part, severe weather risk for Wilkes County is going to be over. The severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until midnight tonight, but you can see we kind of have a big break here. We have our stronger storms here that we've been talking about. It's going to be moving in down toward Sylvania area. We have a cluster of storms that are kind of going to move more toward Madison area and then possibly just north of Macon. So yeah, we're going to still see some more showers and thunderstorms, but the main severe weather risk for Wilkes is not necessarily, it just doesn't look all that great. Let's just put it that way. So I can stop the radar and you can see what I'm talking about. We have a big break in the action here in between the cluster of cells up around Toccoa and Habersham County and then our cells from Augusta on into South Carolina. So we'll see some more rain coming in, but I wouldn't stress about it a whole lot. So hopefully that helps, and same deal for rail. No real difference between the Washington and rail forecast. And just checking in with, again, glad to take your comments and your questions on our Facebook page and also streaming live on YouTube as well. So hopefully that helps more people get the message of what's going on here with the weather here in the state of Georgia, having the two options now, Facebook and YouTube. So glad we're able to do that. Just checking on our severe thunderstorm warnings here in southwest Georgia. So again, we have one for portions of Clay, Randolph, Quitman, and Terrell County. That goes until 11:30. And the bulk of that cell is really over Terrell County right now. So just looks like about 100% of Terrell County is getting at least some sort of rain, from light to very heavy rain. and then a stronger cell and a separate severe thunderstorm warning. And this has portions of Dooley and Sumter County. It's going to be southeast of Americus now, and we see decent reflectivity coming in right on that Dooley-Sumter County line. So the possibility of hail in that as well, and the 60-mile-an-hour wind gust are possible. And these cells are moving more toward the west, a little bit of a southerly direction on that. But again, for folks in Americus and then out in the plains, usually you'll see the storms like this. If I stop the radar and we'll just go look at our current shot, you'll see that in Americus and go, oh, it's heading the other way. It's heading toward I-75, but not tonight. These storms are coming in from the east and moving west, so that rain is going to start to pick up fairly heavily there in Americus, and then beginning to move toward the west, heading over toward the western portion of Sumter County, heading over toward Marion County, and possibly over toward Webster County. But we'll continue to follow that. No warnings for Webster or Marion. And Albany had a severe thunderstorm warning a little bit earlier. Very, very heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning with the cell that moved around Albany, but that has moved out toward the west as well. So just watching Terrell County. So again, a lot of heavy rain there in that part of southwest Georgia. And let's check in, let's go back high res, and we'll take a look at our storm in northeast Georgia. Got a little tiny warning left to go here. So this is just northern Banks County, and I'm starting to see this spread out a great deal. So that's giving us a sign that, yeah, we do have a lot of instability out there, but we're starting to get the atmosphere stabilized just a bit in North Georgia. That's a result of all this rain that has already fallen so far. That's starting to cool the atmosphere down a great deal. So we're not seeing those really strong, very concentrated areas of reflectivity. We're starting to see this spread out a bit. So that's a good sign that things are starting to calm down just a bit, at least in the northeast corner of the state. Pretty quiet in Toccoa, but south of Toccoa, Currahee Mountain, and then beginning to head down toward East Denali and Martin, still picking up some heavy rainfall and heavy rain beginning to move into Carnesville now, crossing I-85. So travel along I-85 from Banks County up through Franklin and Hart County is not going to be pleasant for the next little bit until that cluster of storms moves through. So that warning now you can see just expired at 10:30 for northern Banks County. So we'll just call this a strong cluster of storms. We'll have a significant advisory on this, but as for right now, not technically severe. So again, good sign that things are starting to mellow out. So that's going to be a good sign for Athens. Up in the Jackson County, that things should be fairly quiet. Oglethorpe County as well. Yeah, the rain's going to come, but maybe not as severe as it could have been. But let's get back to Augusta. This is a doozy here, right over US 1 right now. Again, near the Blythe community, beginning to move into northern Burke County, so western Richmond County, near the Burke County line, beginning to head over toward Jefferson County. We do have that severe thunderstorm, which is, it's spread out, but it is very, very large. So we're not seeing this weakening at all, and there's really no reason for it to weaken as this is moving into that warm, unstable air. So we're just going to continue to monitor this particular storm there in Richmond County, and then hugging the Georgia state line near Jackson, South Carolina. Take a look at our strong reflectivity here. So a couple of hail cores, very obvious there on radar. So we could be seeing quarter-size hail possibly, with these storms beginning to move into northeast Burke County. So that's going to be making its way right toward Waynesboro. So we'll watch out for that one. And another really strong, well, we're looking at a different radar. I bet this is probably not going to look as bad when we go to Charleston. Yeah, it doesn't look as bad. Although not getting a good beam. It's pretty close to the radar site here. Here's the Charleston radar site. So we're looking in south of Walterboro, South Carolina, and we see some strong reflectivity right over I-95. And that's important because that's going to be moving in fairly close to the Savannah Metro. So we're going to watch that. Let's put this in motion. And yeah, just looking at the last couple of frames here, I mean, that is just really following I-95. So if that stays on track, this is probably going to move slightly to the west of I-95 before making it down into the state of Georgia. So that's why this may be a bigger issue in just north of Savannah, maybe from Pooler and then heading out I-16 up into Effingham County. Springfield, Rincon may be seeing the brunt of this as opposed to Savannah itself, but still think we're going to see some pretty decent thunderstorm activity in Savannah. Another sign that these storms are really strong, I want you to take a look here. This very thin reflectivity, that's called an outflow boundary, and that's my favorite weather phenomenon, by the way. It's number one on my list. A lot of weather people love hurricanes and all that. That's not my thing. Outflow boundary, this is pretty cool because this is a sign, it's literally cool. That's a sign of cool air coming off of these storms. So we have the downdrafts coming in, that heavy rain cools the atmosphere, that air is blasting toward the surface and then has to go somewhere, so it pushes out ahead of the storm. So we get basically a little mini cold front. So that's a sign here. If you're in Sardis right now, you're going to feel that cooler air rushing in, and that's a sign that we have a very strong thunderstorm there. So the cooled air from the storm meeting the very warm, humid air that has not yet had the rain, and that's why we get these little outflow boundaries or gust fronts that can form, and sometimes they can form thunderstorms themselves, and not really seeing that happening with this, but you can see that line rushing out ahead of the main part of the storm. That's just a very strong blast of wind and significantly cooler wind, and that's where you get out there and you can smell the rain coming. That's what that is, and that's what's going on right now through Burke County and northern Screven County. So just wanted to point that out. Just another sign that these storms are packing a punch because they are coming with a gust front. Looks like we have a little one. No, that's going to be ground clutter. I thought maybe we had one down just inside the South Carolina line here, but that's looks like going to be just some ground clutter. But strong winds coming in now to Burke County and northern Screven County, and still very heavy rain and that hail hanging in there, not moving a whole lot. We've been talking about it being near Blythe for, 20 minutes now, and it's still hanging in there. Let's take a look at the hail and our hail indicator. Ooh, yeah, that's really brightened up. So we're right over US 1 now, even closer to Blythe. This hail core was a little bit more toward the north just a few minutes ago, but now we're starting to move over US 1, still inside Richmond County. So we're looking at the potential of some very decent hail. We saw US 1 and 88. There's Blythe Road. There's McDuffie Road. Let's see what else we can pull up here. Not all the roads are in the GIS, but Goolsby Road could be seeing that. Again, that's right there in the extreme southern portion of Richmond County. And we'll take a look at some other hail cores. So our storm in South Carolina that we're talking about, just to the south of Walterboro, that's a big old ugly hail core here as well, right over I-95, and that's only going to continue to cross and just really square up with 95 as it continues moving toward that southwest direction. So no fun at all traveling on I-85 there in portions of South Carolina, up just to the north of Beaufort. And we have multiple hail cores here. We don't have any warnings on these cells, but we can see in Crisp County and eastern Sumter County, heading up toward Dooley County, just to the southeast of Vienna. We have some very noticeable hail cores here. But again, nothing severe attached to these storms yet, but the potential of hail, there's some strong storms. I'm really surprised we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning on these for Crisp and Dooley County and eastern Sumter, because this is a pretty decent cluster of very strong thunderstorms, but again, technically not severe, so that's the way it is. All right, report of a tree down in Calhoun County. So that's at Wanner Ridge Road and Stabler Farm Road. Is that out of, that's out of South Carolina, so not, all right, so that's out of our area, so we'll let South Carolina WeatherNet deal with that one. And let's see what else we have coming in. Pea-size hail coming in over Lake Blackshear in Crisp County. And again, that's not part of a severe thunderstorm warned storm, but pea-size hail, and that's no surprise looking here at the radar. The only surprise is there isn't a warning on that. I'm just really amazed by that. I'm just looking at one of our other radar products here. Yeah, we got a really strong core right over Vienna right now. So the potential of some decent hail from Richwood up to Vienna is very possible. And we had a report in Habersham County, just about 4 miles northwest of Clarksville. Let's zoom out and we'll go up that direction. This came in just a little earlier after the storm has no longer been considered severe, but a report of marble-sized hail in Clarksville in northeast Georgia. So that's part of this cell right now, which is out of Habersham, out of Stevens, and is really in that western portion of Franklin County. Not severe, so we won't spend a whole lot of time on it. And still looking at that very strong hail core now just to the west of the Blythe community, still just hanging on here in extreme southwest Richmond County, right over US 1. And that storm is going to be moving into northern Jefferson County, northeastern Jefferson County. Looks like it should be in Rennes here in just the next couple of minutes. Let's see if we can put a track on it. Yeah, I'm not sure how accurate that's going to be. I may have to try another source here to get you a time on that. Okay, that's way better. So it looks like that hail core should be just moving to the southeast of Rennes in about 30 minutes. So maybe a little after 11 o'clock or so, we'll see that close to Zabina and Rennes in northeast Jefferson County. That's where this hail core should be. So it's moving fairly slowly, and that's no surprise because we've been going back and forth of this storm, and it doesn't seem like it's moving a whole lot. It's just kind of hanging out there in that little corner of Richmond County. And not a whole lot going on in Burke County yet, but it's coming. We do have our severe thunderstorm warning for all of Burke County, and we see our line of the cluster of storms we've been really concerned about the most beginning to cross the Savannah River right now. So extreme eastern Burke County is starting to get that heavy rain and wind. As I mentioned, this gust front here, our outflow boundary, that is moving rapidly through Burke County. So picked up that cool blast of air just in Waynesboro just a few minutes ago, stretching down the Sardis, now in northern Screven County as well, toward Hiltonia. And let me check out chat here. All right, Nicole, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Mandy checking in Jackson County. I think most of the activity in Jackson County is probably over as well. Let's just take a look at the Greenville radar. We'll take a little peek at it. So right now, everything is all quiet in Jackson County. Of course, we have the cluster of storms that looks like it's still going to stay in that southerly, even kind of looks like it's moving southeast just a bit. So I'm not sure that's going to make that turn to the west quite yet. So I think this cluster of storms is just going to stay to the east of Jackson County and go over Madison County instead and continue tracking on down just to the east of Athens, down toward Oglethorpe County. So we'll see some rain coming in through Jackson County, but I think you're going to miss this cluster here altogether. Just depends on where you are. If you're in East Jackson County, around East Jackson Elementary, may see a little bit of that coming in your direction. But Jefferson, Arcade, I think things are going to be pretty reasonable. And just notice the big difference in just the way these storms are moving. So the cluster we're talking about up here in northeast Georgia kind of still has that southeast momentum. We get down here to the CSRA, and that's moving more southwest, so we can see that overall circulation in the upper levels of the atmosphere steering these storms. And then you get out in southwest Georgia, and look, these are basically moving due west. So this counterclockwise rotation, no surprise at all there with those upper level steering currents. It's just unusual, and it's hard to wrap our heads around these storms when they're going the opposite direction, because if you've watched this channel very often, you know, we're up here into the middle of the night, early morning hours, and watching the storms. They come in from Alabama. I start talking about things in Birmingham and Montgomery, and Huntsville sees a lot of activity, and we watch all this stuff move into our state from that direction. But this is going to be a different deal. Tonight, we're going to be sending Alabama our mess. So all these storms here around the Albany area, that's going to eventually start moving over toward Dothan and Auburn and that area. So we're going to give them our storms tonight, and then our cells coming in here from South Carolina will be moving into parts of southeast Georgia. So little different scenario, and that's all right. Keeps us on our toes, right? We can't get too comfortable with these storms and get too predictable and we get lazy. We don't want that to happen. So here are our severe thunderstorm watches. Number 1, we had this one issued earlier in the evening. This goes until midnight. This does cover Augusta and Athens. And then we have number 2, much larger area here. This goes until 4 a.m. So we still have the potential of these storms going strong to severe. It doesn't look like, you know, we're going to see this big line of storms here coming in from South Carolina, and that's going to be a big problem. It's mainly going to be those isolated storms just popping up through the late night and overnight hours tonight that could go strong to severe. So that's why we have our severe thunderstorm watch, again, in effect until 4 a.m. That does cover Macon, Warner Robins, Atlanta, Columbus, Albany, Blakely, Brunswick, and Valdosta's in there, Douglas, Vidalia. Statesboro is in there as well. And as I think I mentioned Savannah, but we'll mention Savannah again. Because Savannah is going to be seeing the thunderstorms here very, very soon. Not going to have to wait until 4 a.m. to get those through the Savannah area. They are on their way. So let's get back to the live radar scans and take a look at what we have going on. This particular cell here, again, still mainly confined to Richmond County. Starting to see it spill over into Jefferson County just a bit, but this is our most impressive reflectivity that we have, and a sign that we have hail in that for sure. Latest estimate now showing maybe three quarters of an inch in diameter. Roughly, that's what it looks like up in the atmosphere. Doesn't mean that's what's falling to the ground, but that's what it's capable of doing. So we'll keep watching that. And we've been mentioning the Blythe community, and that's where it's hanging out, just to the west of Blythe. Could be seeing some hail fall there. Keysville getting very close. Here's our inflow notch, so we know the storm is being well fed. Not really any spin to worry about at all. Yeah, we just don't have a lot of that wind shear in the atmosphere to deal with, so we're not going to see these storms spin unless something very unusual happens. We can't rule out a tornado, but the tornado risk is extremely low. This is just not the environment for tornadoes. This is the environment for these really, really big gully washer kind of thunderstorms that produce a lot of rain over a short period of time. And they just hang out because they're just not moving very quickly. Let me see what the speed is on this one. This shows 55 miles per hour. I don't know about that. Let me look at something else here. Okay. Yeah, this one's showing 10. So it depends on where you're looking at on the storm. So anywhere from 10 miles per hour, which is just creeping along, to maybe a little bit faster as it was coming into Richmond County. But at 10 miles per hour, that's going to be a big problem with flooding. That kind of heavy rain coming down, and it's just not moving very quickly. That is going to create that flooding issue there in western Richmond County, northern Jefferson County, and over toward Glasscock County. Almost to Gibson, but not quite, under that severe thunderstorm warning. And let's take a look at Charleston radar. I want to look at this storm with a considerable tag. So that's right over I-95. And that is moving in toward Jasper County, South Carolina. Let's put this one in motion. Just want to see where this is going to possibly impact Georgia. Yeah, this is going to be very, very close to Savannah. So this is our storm I'm looking at here with this considerable tag. So possibility of 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts plus on this one, beginning to move into Jasper County, South Carolina. This should move just to the west, still stay very close to I-95, but stay maybe just to the west of I-95 as it crosses the state line. So really, western Chatham County. Hopefully this is just going to just miss Savannah, because this is going to be a big flood issue for Savannah if this one continues to move that direction. But I think it's going to start to turn a little bit more toward the west as it heads toward the state line. So we'll watch that. We'll keep the live stream going until at least this part of the storm makes it into the Savannah area, because I really want to see what's going to happen with that. All right, severe thunderstorm warning. This is our cell that we're watching. No, this is a different one. Yeah, so let's flip over here to the old trusty Jeffersonville radar, because this will give us an outstanding view of this storm. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning for south central Dodge County, southwestern Telfair County, and southeastern Wilcox County. This goes until 11:15. Possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail with this storm. And this is going to cover Temperance and China Hill. So treat this storm with respect. It's a big one. So this is between Milan and Jacksonville, Georgia. Not under the severe thunderstorm warning, but very, very close to being in it in Jacksonville, just to the north of Jacksonville. So this is in western Telfair County is where we're looking at this cell. We do have a little smaller cell over Jacksonville. We'll see what that develops or not. And this could interrupt this storm a bit. So we'll see if maybe this storm kind of pulls in some of that moisture in there and could throw it off its game just a bit. We'll watch. We have another decent cell down in Irwin County. So this is northwest Irwin County, just northwest of Ocilla and southwest of Fitzgerald. Not severe, but that one is also showing some pretty impressive form here. We can see a little bit of an inflow forming, so that storm is well fed, no problems. And what else do we have? Let's just kind of scan around and make sure we're not missing anything. Nothing severe in North Georgia. Technically, we still have a warning here just to the north of I-20 in Richmond County, but most of that's now to the south of I-20. So other than that, we have nothing of severe variety in North Georgia, north of I-20. So that's certainly, that's good. And I think the atmosphere is starting to settle down a lot. We're not really going to see anything in northwest Georgia. This is going to be the area of really no concern at all. And as a matter of fact, if we pull up the convective outlook, let me turn off the radar. Yeah, once we get up in extreme northwest Georgia and Dade County, that's just in that general thunderstorm risk. There's our level 1 for Lafayette all the way down to northern Floyd County. Level 2 out of 5 risk still in there for metro Atlanta. And we have our level 3 risk, which stretches into parts of northeast Georgia, east central Georgia, down to Milledgeville, over to Augusta. I'm surprised the Storm Prediction Center hasn't, well, I guess they're not. It's not time to update. But they may update that to push a little bit more down to the southeast, because that's where we have that best potential of the severe risk. Again, heading down toward Millen and Statesboro and over towards Savannah. So we may see an update on that come out the next time they put that out. And we have another severe thunderstorm warning coming out, and here it is. Let's go take a look at this radar. We're just bouncing back and forth with all the radar tools that we possibly have. And so this one is a big one. Covers a lot of real estate here. This is for Bullock County, Chatham County, Effingham County, Jenkins County, and Screven County here in Georgia. A few counties over in South Carolina as well, portions of Allendale, Beaufort, Hampton, and Jasper. But we're concentrating mainly on Bullock, Chatham, Effingham, Jenkins, and Screven County. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. And then let me stop the radar again so we can get the data here. This goes until 11:45. So this one almost an hour in duration. And I'll tell you what I need to do here just to update one of our other radio partners along the line. I just need to take care of a couple of pieces of business here. So stand by with me just a second. In addition to our live stream here on the Georgia Weather Net, we also cover radio stations throughout the state of Georgia and their social media to help get the word out to as many people as possible. So thank you for bearing with me on that. We have that posted. So again, severe thunderstorm warning. And this is for that big cluster of storms that we've been watching very carefully moving in from South Carolina. So this goes until 11:45, and this is for portions of Bullitt County. This does include Statesboro and Georgia Southern, Chatham County, Effingham County, Jenkins County, Screven County. Severe thunderstorm warning. Also, the severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for most of this area, really from Statesboro and then on down in the coastal Georgia till 4 a.m. On the other side of the borough until midnight tonight. So no surprise here that these storms are moving in and packing a punch. And there's that outflow boundary we're talking about here. So that blast of cooler air rushing out ahead of the main part of the storm. That is moving through Screven County right now, going through Sylvania, heading toward Rocky Ford. That cool air moving in. A little bit of a sign of an outflow boundary starting to move toward the Savannah River there in eastern Effingham County. So again, probably the next 15 to 20 minutes or so in Springfield and Rincon, you're going to feel that blast of cool air move in, and you know that some big storms are coming to follow. So let's take a look at our cell here. Are we still in Richmond County? My goodness, what a slow moving. This thing is moving like frozen molasses. I mean, 10 miles an hour maybe is the speed on this thing, almost stalled out. But we're right on the Richmond County line, moving in to extreme northeast Jefferson County, and we're very close to the Burke County line there as well. Just to the west there of Burke County. I'm just looking to see if we have another hail marker. Surprisingly, it doesn't look like we're seeing a whole lot of hail possible here around Keysville. This part of the cell could be producing some hail right over Zabina. So this is going to be near Rennes, but right over the Zabina community could be seeing some hail, and that could be 3/4 of an inch. So pretty decent sized hail there in northeast Jefferson County. But surprisingly enough, the radar is not estimating a whole lot of hail with this part of the cell. But radar, it's making its best guess. We could be seeing some hail there around Keysville. All right, let's check in. Yeah, this cell is really showing a lot of promise as well. So down in Telfair County, let's see if this one's moving. Look at that, how it just popped up out of nowhere, right over 441. So there was nothing east of 441 there in Telfair County. And then right over the highway, it just popped up. That's that boiling water we talk about. That's like a bubble in the boiling water. And that's exactly what this is. So we see from 0 to 100 in just, 4 frames there. So very, very quick forming storm. Let me just look at the time. So this is our radar shot at, what time was this one? Oh, we'll put the timestamp up there. This will help us. So at 10:17, this is what it looked like. There was nothing going on. And then we advance a couple of frames, and we start to see it happening at 10:21, 10:24. It's a big one. By 10:27, it's really getting up there, and then we get the warning issued at about 10:45, and here's our live shot. Almost live. This is at 10:47, and this just goes pretty strong here in just a matter of minutes. So that's western Telfair County. We have a little portion of Wilcox County in there as well in this severe thunderstorm warning. This little piece right here. But this should stay just to the north of Ben Hill County. Not going to be a big issue in Fitzgerald. Already a decent cell moved close to Fitzgerald. Not severe. But this cell looks like it will stay on course if it holds together and holds its strength. We'll continue moving over toward Rochelle, maybe splitting the difference between Rebecca and Rochelle. But we'll watch it. And our cell here in Crisp County, or Dooley County now, it moved out of northern Crisp County, now right over Vienna in Dooley County. Not severe, but still showing the potential of some hail with that, some strong winds as well. So that's a pretty significant storm, but has not been tagged severe. And what radar site are we going to use? We'll take a look at this one. Take a look at our another severe thunderstorm warning that we have. Part of this has been edited just a little bit, but this covers Quitman County, portions of Clay County, and Randolph County under a severe thunderstorm warning. And this one goes until 11:30. So we can see the heavy rain beginning to move into Cuthbert right now. So once again, moving from east to west, throwing us off a little bit tonight. But these storms are coming in from the east here in this part of Georgia, coming in from the east, moving west. So we'll see that rain continue to pick up, and the possibility of that hail over Cuthbert, heading towards Springvale and Morris, and eventually tracking up in toward Quitman County. That's why we have our warning here into Quitman County, as well as northern Clay County. Fort Gaines, you are in it. And Coleman and Randolph County, you're in there as well. So there's Coleman, there's Fort Gaines, and that's the extent of the warning. See, a little bit of this has been edited just a little bit, and we cut off our part of the storm out there toward Terrell County, or the warning, because the storm has moved out of Terrell. So the severe risk is over for Dawson. All right, let's take a look at our storms. I'll tell you what, let's just take a big picture look. And we'll go to the big radar. Got another, nope, not a warning. Let's see what we have here. So our hot spot, 2 spots here. We have multiple cells here in southwest Georgia. We've got a little cell here that's doing its thing just on the other side of I-75. But really, our cluster of storms from Augusta all the way down the state line over the Savannah River, just north of Savannah. This is our main area that we're watching, and also watching to see if the Weather Service puts out that considerable tag on any of these warnings, and they haven't in a while, so that's good. The last considerable tag that we had, and that means winds, instead of the 60-mile-an-hour cutoff threshold, that means 70 miles an hour. So we haven't seen that posted in the last couple of warnings, so that's a sign that maybe things are not ramping up, but they're at least staying even, or maybe ramping down just a bit, but still don't want to let your guard down. But severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Bullock, Chatham, Effingham, Jenkins, Screven counties. And that warning polygon is right to Savannah. You can see the corner of this just right to Savannah. We see a few of those warnings just expired here at 11, but it looks like these cells are going to stay slightly to the west of Savannah. It's going to be very, very close. The airport could be the cutoff point for these storms. So airport, Pooler, and then heading to the west of that, that's where we're probably going to see the bulk of this. Maybe downtown Savannah, and then heading out toward Tybee, may get spared by the worst of this storm. Let's hope that's the case. But we'll watch it. We'll keep watching it as it moves in closer. And Philip checking in from Washington, Georgia. Oh, you missed the Washington update a little bit earlier, Philip, but that's all right. We'll do it again. We always appreciate our folks in Washington, Wilkes County checking in. Not really a whole lot's going on. We have the rain over there, but a cluster of storms that were severe. That looks like that's going to pass through Oglethorpe County, maybe just to the west of you. And then the big ugly stuff there in South Carolina, that's well to the southeast. So not really seeing anything significant. Still got the severe thunderstorm watch till midnight, but I wouldn't worry a bit. I don't think we're going to have a lot of problem. Again, the atmosphere is starting to get very stabilized because of all this rain. So the rain that you're seeing right now is actually going to help things out a lot. So thanks for checking in. Hopefully that answers your question. Savannah's checking in Lake Oconee. Beautiful Lake Oconee. And things are pretty quiet down there right now. Let's go back to the high-res radar. Just got to use too much imagination here on the big composite radar. No need to do that. We pay the big money for the high res stuff. So there you go. So yeah, everything is quiet over Lake Oconee right now, and we'll see these showers move in, some thunderstorms. I'm just not terribly concerned with anything overly severe in Greene, Putnam County area. We are going to see this line drop in. It's going to take a few hours to get there. It'll be through the overnight hours. And the atmosphere is still very unstable because we haven't had a whole lot of rain yet. So this is more of that unstable that we're talking about. So we'll watch out, but most of the stronger storms will stay down to the southeast. But just have a way to get warnings through the overnight hours. That would be my recommendation. Jamie checking in from Millen. And Millen is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. That big severe thunderstorm warning that was issued a little while ago, which goes until 11:45. And let me see, I'm going to have to use a different radar to give you a time on that because this one's not going to cooperate exactly the way I want it. It'll work, but I aim for the highest quality here on our storm track. So it looks like this line that we see, it's bulging out, so we know there's strong winds involved here. Very easily going to make that 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, and that is going to move on into Jenkins County, move toward Millen. Looks like it should be there in about 20 minutes from right now. So these are fairly slow-moving storms, so going to take a little bit of time to get this edge in. Now that wind's going to pick up before that, but the heavy rain, give it about 11:20, 11:25 or so, and then it'll be on top of you for a while. So quite a bit of rain and the possibility of some hail. All these little spots here where you see the blues, there's a good chance that we have some hail falling in on that. So that is going to be moving your direction. So just hang in there. Hang with us here at the Weather Net. As long as I know you're watching, we'll keep it live. Jamie, how about that? Cheryl Collins checking in. Thank you for your continued support, and thank you for everyone checking out our stream tonight on Facebook and also on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube as well and getting comments on YouTube. All right, so John checking in from Crawford. Had to look behind the screen. It could have been Crawford or Crawfordville, which are too close to each other for name purposes, but thanks for checking in. Everything is quiet right now in Crawford, up in Oglethorpe County. As far as any severe weather is concerned, it's not really a concern right now, but we will see these showers and some fairly heavy rain will continue to drop in, so give it another hour or so before we get that in your direction. But thanks for checking in on YouTube, and also Randall checking in from Gainesville. Let's take a look at Gainesville, and I'm going to flip over to Atlanta radar for that. And most of that severe weather is going to stay to the east of Gainesville, so that's great news. This atmosphere is going to just continue to get a little bit more stability to it over the next several hours. You still have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect. And is the radar down? Surely not. Let's see if we can reload it. Well, that's no good, is it? Let's try Greenville. All right, maybe it's me. Let's see if we can check out our backup radar here. Yeah, there we go. Let's go over to that, and there we go. While we're doing that, we'll just do a little restart. I think we've been overworking the radar tonight, flipping back from all the different sites, but we do have some showers there in northern Hall County moving in, but nothing severe to be concerned with. Your severe weather risk is mainly going to be to the southeast now of the Gainesville area, so you should be in good shape. But thanks for checking in. All right, good to know that the chat is working on the YouTube channel as well as Facebook. That's awesome. So yeah, Jamie, that wind is going to continue to pick up. No tornado warnings, and I don't think you're going to see one. This is just not the right kind of atmosphere for tornadoes. So we're, you can't rule anything out, because understand all of these storms, let's go back to the big radar again, all of these cells in here, they all have a rotating component to it. But that's every storm, all the time, around the clock. It's just when that rotation gets really tight, really strong, that's when we worry about the tornado risk. And that has to happen really with more help from the atmosphere. Just the overall, these cells doing their normal little turn is just not enough to make a tornado happen. When you get that wind shear, which is the change of direction in the wind and the change of speed when you go up into the atmosphere, when that kicks in and starts spinning these things, that's when you have the tornado risk. And we just don't have a lot of wind shear, and we're really not. Once we get into these really hot summer months, that's not a big issue. And really, we don't have normally a lot of instability in the atmosphere during these really hot months. We do have thunderstorms that pop up just about every day, but that's what's sort of unusual about this storm system. Also, just the direction of these storms coming in, dropping from the north and then moving toward the west. So everything about this system's a little weird. The only thing that's normal is we don't have the tornado parameters that are very high. So that's mainly a spring and fall thing around the state of Georgia. We can never rule it out. I don't want you to say that it's impossible to have a tornado in the summer or the winter. It's just very, very difficult, and especially with the parameters for tonight. So Millen, Jenkins County, I wouldn't be concerned with that. Just be concerned with the heavy rain and the hail and the strong winds that'll be moving in. So just looking at the structure, you got this bulging portion here. This is mainly to the south of Millen, so heading in towards Screven County. That's we're looking at some really strong winds, probably in the Rocky Ford right now. Could be picking up those 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and pushing in toward Bullock County. But that's windy too. That does look very windy there, especially east of Millen, just to the east of the highway there. So just hang with us. We'll get the storm through. Heather checking in from Vidalia. Everything is quiet right now in Vidalia, but it is very warm, very humid. That atmosphere is just ready to boil again. We talk about the boiling pot of water. The atmosphere, the air is a fluid, and so it operates almost identical to how liquid water would operate, and it boils up. And so that's really our concern that we have in Vidalia and Toombs County and this entire area where you don't see any rain, and we haven't really seen a whole lot of rain yet tonight. We know that instability is there. It's pretty high, and so we could see these pop-ups just like we're seeing out to the west. Just haven't seen that boiling bubble yet, but it could happen. I do think that this big ugly portion of storms here, that is going to be moving your direction over the next few hours. It's probably going to change its shape a little bit, the dynamics a little bit, but we do want to watch that after midnight for Vidalia. And so we may see some severe thunderstorm warnings issued that way as a result of this big cluster if we don't see any of these pop-ups out ahead of it first. And Jamie checking in. Okay, over near Sardis. So you're over kind of near the county line up there, near the Burke County line. So yeah, again, pretty windy. Looks like that rain is starting to pick up now there in the northeast corner of Jenkins County. But that's going to be that. I'm not really seeing a hail core in your area. Possibility of some hail closer to Waynesboro and then down just above Sylvania, but you may be splitting the difference between that. So I think heavy rain is going to be your main deal there. And let me just check in with our weather partners. And while I do that, I'll put the radar in motion, because it's just fascinating to watch these storms coming in from the north and now starting to move in from the northeast, moving southwest. We just don't see that all that often. Usually what makes that happen is if we have a big tropical system moving in, which that can stir up the atmosphere in all kinds of ways. But we have some really strong upper level dynamics that's causing this fairly unusual steering motion. So again, coming in from the north, then it starts, you see, moving southwest, and then you get here in southwest Georgia, and these are just moving basically due west at this point, just heading toward Alabama. So we're going to send Alabama our bad weather this time around as opposed to the other way around. Let me see what we have here. Reports coming out of Banks County in northeast Georgia from our storms earlier. And we had severe thunderstorms up in that direction. You can see that polygon pops up for a second and goes away from that expired storm. But 8 trees down on the roadways throughout the northern end of Banks County. So it looks like above Homer up toward the Habersham County lines where we have those trees down. So 8 trees. The original report was 3, so they've added found another 5 trees down there. And let me check in with the Greenville office and see what reports they have out of northeast Georgia. 2-inch hail reported in Habersham County, the southwest corner. So that's, again, that same area there near the Habersham-Banks County line with ping pong to golf ball size hail possible. So that was reported about 20 minutes ago. Obviously the cell had moved out by then, but that was just a report after the fact. So good news for Rabun County. Will be dropped out of the severe thunderstorm watch here soon enough. So there you go. I think they could probably drop some more counties, but for right now, we're going to lose 1 county out of the severe thunderstorm watch. So congratulations to Clayton and Tiger, Mountain City, Dillard, and Rabun County. You're going to be out of the watch here soon. All right, what's going on with our friends in Columbia, South Carolina? No other reports coming in. We did have mentioned a hail report at about 9:30 tonight. So this is, not going to be a very unusual sight with these storms, this hail. So that's roughly dime-size hail there in around, was that North Augusta Road, came in about 9:30. And lightning. Yeah, a lot of lightning flashes also in Augusta. So this is from the Fox affiliate in Augusta. And you can see quite a light show there. So that was, again, just a couple of hours ago. But this is what is continuing to track down toward the south now, well into Burke County and Jefferson County. I'm just checking in with all of our weather partners here to see what else we have. All right, so no other damage reports, so that's good. I'm going to continue to keep an eye on that. And I'll pass along damage reports, or if you have anything happening in your neighborhood, let us know and we can pass the word out the other direction. Nothing wrong with that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our other severe thunderstorm warnings that we have at cell down around Fitzgerald. Oh, we have another one here we'll take a look at. So that is there we go. So this is now moved. We actually have 2 cells. The warn cell now in western Irwin County, but now we have a cell that's even stronger than that, which is outside of the warning polygon or just straddling the line. This just popped up on its own just a little while ago. Possibility 1-inch size hail in that. That is just to the west of Jacksonville, Georgia, right over US 319, just inside Ben Hill County. So northeast Ben Hill County. Here we're looking at the potential of some hail and some very heavy rain coming down with that. Our cluster of storms over in Dooley, Crisp County, Sumter County, it's been hanging around causing problems. Not really showing a lot of hail with this, but heavy rain is there for sure. And our severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for portions of Clay, Quitman, and Randolph counties. And this goes until 11:30. Let's take a look. I just saw another cell. Yeah, look at this one. So nothing severe on this particular cell, but this is getting out in western Walton County near Social Circle and Walnut Grove. So we're just moving into the western portion of Walton County, coming out of Newton County. Well, I'm sorry, going the other way. Again, I'm thinking west to east. So this cell, let's put it in motion. We can see this motion there, kind of moving southwest just a little bit. So coming out of Walton County, and then moving again around Walnut Grove, Social Circle area, heading in toward Newton and Rockdale counties. So we may get a warning out of this one. We'll see. I'm sure the Weather Service is watching this particular cell, but this one just popped up out of nowhere and is showing quite a bit of strength. Here's another cell just east of downtown Atlanta that came out of nowhere and just popped up. So once again, there's that boiling water effect, and that's right over I-20 inside the perimeter, just west of downtown and Georgia Tech here. We see that strong reflectivity coming in, and a big cell just to the south of Mableton. So this is moving out of Cobb County, starting to move into northeast Douglas County. Another decent cell here in western Cobb County. So this one was formed very close to Marietta and is pretty strong, but nothing severe on these cells here in Metro Atlanta at the moment. We'll see if that changes. Yeah, this one over here, again, over Walnut Grove, just above Social Circle, that one just really got together very quickly. So it looks like that formed around Jersey and then developed very quickly and moving down in toward Newton and Rockdale counties. So possibility 1-inch hail with that cell. Let me pause it and take a look at the, see if we can see a hail core in this thing. There it is. So that's just inside Newton County. Throw a couple of roads up here. Is that what I think it is? I'm not going to pronounce that. Well, we'll let that road speak for itself. I don't need people cutting this out and putting me on Facebook in other ways. Western Macedonia Road, Townley Road. So again, crossing Highway 81, possibility of that hail up to 1 inch in diameter, just above Covington and to the southwest of Jersey, west of Social Circle. Could you imagine living on that road? I mean, I would think it was funny, but you know. I know there's a road named that up in Madison County as well, up near Danielsville. So I'm sure it was a proud family name at one point. All right, severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect. The big one here for Bullock, Chatham, Effingham, Jenkins, Screven counties until 11:45. And the eastern half of Jenkins County now with that very heavy rain coming down and a little bit of stronger development here. Again, between Millen and Sardis there in northeast Jenkins County. Heavy rain right on the Jenkins-Screven County line as well. But most of this is just to the east of US 25, but moving to the southwest. So that's going to eventually cover the rest of Jenkins County, starting to move into northern Bullock right now. Statesboro, Georgia Southern, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. And that is moving in. Strong winds, so batten down the hatches and get ready to go. And just kind of looking at what's coming in from South Carolina. I was just watching this cell. Starting to see a little bit of a break near I-95. So we may be getting a little bit of a straggler here off to the southeast. So this may, again, just graze Savannah. So the severe thunderstorm warning does not cover downtown and midtown, but it comes very close. It's right here at the river, and then does cover this extreme northern portion of Chatham County. But Pooler and Savannah, at the moment, you're not in a warning, but that's probably going to change. So we'll keep watching it. And there's that cell we talked about up in Newton County. That did go severe. So we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Rockdale County, southwestern Walton County, and northern Newton County until 11:45. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail possible. This does cover Conyers, Covington, Oxford, Porterdale, Walnut Grove, Jersey. That's where the storm forms, so it's starting to move away from Jersey. The horse park there in Conyers, obviously, Gum Creek, Big Haynes Creek Park, you're in the severe thunderstorm warning. So we've been tracking this one, and it did go severe, and the Weather Service just making mention of these cells out in West Metro Atlanta, the South Metro. We see just kind of a ring of fire here around Atlanta. So that's taking advantage of that charged up atmosphere. So still looking at the possibility of some strong straight line winds, wind gusts 60 mile an hour plus, and some hail with any of these cells. This one's starting to get a little strong here as well. Let's just kind of zoom in on this and take a look. That's in eastern Henry County, edging into Butts County, Newton County. Let's see if we have a hail core on this one. Yeah, there it is. So maybe some hail. Let me pop up a couple of roads here. Fairly rural part of Henry County, but this is going to be near North River Road, Honey Creek Road. There's River Road, Snapping Shoals Road. The possibility of some hail. And that is right on the Henry-Newton County line, heading toward northern Butts County. And there's our hail core, now well inside Newton County. And this is going to be very, very close to Covington. Let's get some normal colors going here again. There we go. We're getting some new data coming in. So yeah, that cell, it looks like it's just going to graze Covington. Oxford, it's heading your way. Almond, and just to the south of the horse park, they're east of Conyers. All right, let's zoom out a little bit here, make sure we're not missing anything. So our two cells are looking down here in South Georgia. Our Ben Hill and Irwin County storms still showing severe just to the west of Ocilla. This continues to track toward the east, getting very close to I-75. So strong winds going to be moving near the Ashburn exit, just south of Ashburn on I-75, right along the Tift County line there. And then the other cell, which is moving out of Telfair County, just to the west of Jacksonville, Georgia. That's spreading out a bit, pretty big cell here, but producing some heavy rainfall. And that's technically not why we have the warning. We have the warning because of the cell here moving toward I-75. So we'll see what happens if this gets extended or added to. This is supposed to go until 12:30. Okay. Again, the slow-moving storm, we're showing the speed on this one at 13 miles per hour. So this thing is creeping along, and that's why it's such a long-lasting severe thunderstorm warning. Get back up to our warning here for parts of southeast or east Georgia. Part of this has been canceled. Let's see, what did they do with it? Okay, so in South Carolina, some of the warning area has been canceled, but remains in effect until 11:45 for Bullock County, Chatham County, Effingham, Jenkins, and Screven counties here in Georgia. So there's a strong reflectivity, possibility of some hail right on the Jenkins-Screven County line. This is just tracking to the south-southwest, right along the county line, just riding right there. There's Rocky Ford just inside Screven County, in from Bullock and Jenkins County. So that's going to be close to Rocky Ford. Should be moving in toward northern Bullock County. Portal, hope you like it. We'll be moving in over the next 10 minutes or so. And then eventually, this part of the storm here coming out of southern Screven County will be moving into Statesboro. So moving very, very slowly. Let me see if I can time it out for Statesboro. Yeah, another, well, it could be 15 minutes. Yeah, I think this part of the line here that's right on the Screven-Bullitt County line, that should be right over Statesboro in about 15 minutes from right now. All right, another warning coming out. Let me see if we can keep track of... Did we get two of them at once? Let's see. I don't remember talking about either one of these. So let's just get to both of them. We'll take the top storm first. Severe thunderstorm warning for west central Wilkinson County and central Twiggs County until 11:45. Do have the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail with this. This does cover Jeffersonville, as well as Ripley and Myrick's Mill. And then our warning polygon to the south. This is for southwestern Twiggs County and northeastern Houston County. And this will go until until midnight. So again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible with this cell and quarter-size hail. This includes Perry, very close to Warner Robins, the southeast portion of Warner Robins, the Robins Air Force Base, Marion, Tarversville, Sandbed, Bullard, Bonaire, and Kathleen. So really looking at three cells here, 1, 2, 3, with these two warnings. And the most ominous is the one up here toward the north there in Wilkinson County, western Wilkinson County. Let's take a look at that one a little bit closer. Yeah, that does not look fun at all. Right around Ashbury Church Road. Just to the east of Highway 18, there's Butterscotch Lane. And I think we'll definitely see a hail core with this. Let's take a look at it. Let me try to reload. There it is. So yeah, the hail core is just a little bit up to the north of the strongest part of the reflectivity. So these storms are tilting, obviously. So around White Springs Church Road, as I mentioned, Asbury Church Road, just a couple of markers there where we're seeing the potential of some pretty significant hail here in western Wilkinson County. So this is south of Gordon and to the west of Irwinton, moving in toward Twiggs County. Get back to the reflectivity. Another severe thunderstorm warning coming out. And this is going to be an extension here of our storm that is, again, moving into the Statesboro area. So they're going ahead and taking care of the paperwork on this plenty early because there's a ways to go before this storm reaches that warning polygon. But this is going to be this polygon right here, so to the south of what's coming in. So this is going to be for Bryan County, Bullitt County, Candler County, Effingham County, Evans, Jenkins, Liberty, Screven, and Tattnall counties, all until 12:30. Showing that line of thunderstorms from Shawnee to near Butts, moving south at 30 miles per hour. So still slow, but maybe picking up a little bit of speed. We have the potential of 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with this storm, as well as quarter-size hail. Statesboro, Brooklet, Portal, Springfield, Guyton, Metter, Pembroke, Lanier, Claxton, and Hagen. You're in the warning polygon, so get ready for these storms moving your way. And let me take care of another post here for our radio partners down the line, so bear with me just a second while I just do a little bit of work on that. All right, there we go. So we do double and triple duty sometimes here at the Georgia WeatherNet to make sure we're covered here online on Facebook and on YouTube, and also our radio partners that we have there in the Statesboro area. Want to make sure they're covered with everything going on. All right, another severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be in the Atlanta area. Let's flip over to Atlanta radar for this one. And should get the data loading up here in a moment. But this is going to be for northern DeKalb County, southwestern Gwinnett County. Until midnight, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail possible. This covers a lot of population. This is for Decatur and Peachtree Corners, Dunwoody, Lilburn, Chamblee, Norcross, Doraville, Clarkston, Stone Mountain, Avondale Estates, Pine Lake, Tucker, North Decatur, North Druid Hills, North Atlanta, Druid Hills, Scottdale, Mountain Park, Mechanicsville, and La Vista. Would love to get the radar data coming in on this, but Atlanta must be down because we're not getting anything from off the Atlanta radar. So let's I'll tell you what, let's take a look at it. We'll look at this radar and take a little closer look at it. And there it is. So this is right over Spaghetti Junction, just the southeast of Spaghetti Junction. So that's moving there along I-285, and that's going to, again, continue tracking toward the west and southwest. So this will be moving in toward Oak Grove, as I mentioned, Decatur, North Decatur, just above Scottdale. So here it is. So there's Spaghetti Junction right here. So there's the bulk of that, continuing to track down toward the southwest through DeKalb County. And that's going to be moving very, very close to downtown or possibly midtown Atlanta as well if it continues to hold together. And for some odd reason, every time we try to look at Atlanta radar, bad things happen. So maybe we'll just stay away from that for a little while and use our other radar sites in the meantime. All right, so here's what it looks like. We have all these multiple severe thunderstorm warnings here in metro Atlanta, very, very close to town. There's another one popping up. So this is going to be the case with all these cells around Atlanta. And anywhere where you don't see the rain right now, we're going to see these cells just continue to pop up over the next several hours. And so look out for more of these little small isolated warnings. So here's another one for you. And this is going to be for portions of Henry County, northeastern Butts County, southwestern Newton County. This goes until midnight. And again, our main threats with this will be the 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. This does include McDonough, Locust Grove, Jenkinsburg, Blacksville, Luella, Ola, Worthville, Fincherville, Kellytown, Oak Hill, Stark, and Rocky Plains. So this cell there we go. This radar data is just taking its time tonight. So this is going to be very, very close to McDonough and moving. Yeah, this northern part of the cell will be moving in toward McDonough. The southern part here, there's a new sweep. So this is just really blown up very quickly. I mean, look at the difference between that last sweep that we had and the current one. Well, I would love to show you, but it's not wanting to show me that last sweep. But you saw it together, how it just got really big in a hurry. So that is closing in on Locust Grove. That rain is beginning to pick up on McDonough right now. And this is where we have the possibility of hail in that northeast corner of the cell. And it looks like over northern Butts County right now is where our main threat for the hail is. Another severe thunderstorm warning here. Just now coming out. This is going to be for north central Spalding County, southwestern Henry County until midnight. This covers Hampton, Lovejoy, Sunnyside, Luella, the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which has a new name now, I believe. What's it called? Echo Park, is that right? Got a race coming up there Saturday night. You don't want to be racing there tonight with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail possible with this storm. And this is located over Hampton, moving south at 5 miles per hour. So just barely creeping along. Very slow moving storm there. Over Hampton, McDonough, Echo Park area. And this one's a new one. Severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Macon County, central Peach County, central Crawford County, and east central Taylor County. This includes Fort Valley, Roberta, Montezuma, Marshallville, Reynolds, Ideal, St. Louis, Whitewater State Park, Nokomis, Garden Valley, Hicks, Knoxville, Lee Pope, Horns, Winchester, and Bartlett. You are in a severe thunderstorm warning. Just looking to see if Musella is in there. Pretty close. It was over there the other day. But tonight, a little rough down there in that part of the world. So we've got severe thunderstorm warning. Again, this is for portions of Crawford, Peach, Macon, and Taylor County until 12:15. And looking at some very strong reflectivity just to the west of I-75. Remember, these storms are moving east to west, so this isn't going to be pushing back the other way. This is crossing I-75, but just to the south of Perry, we're looking at a very strong reflectivity coming in. But the bulk of this is to the west of I-75 and is going to continue moving west. So that is going to be moving into Marshallville. Looks like it's going to be very close to Montezuma with the very heavy rain and strong winds associated with this as well. Let's check in with our storms in the Statesboro area. So our last check that we had, it was just crossing over the Bullock County line. Now we have quite a bit of rain here in North Bullock. Rain starting to come down over Statesboro, so Statesboro north, and that's going to continue to push through. We'll see pretty much all of Bullock County with some rain of some variety and probably heavy rain over the next 45 minutes or so. And some pretty strong reflectivity over Louisville and Wadley. The heaviest of our reflectivity just south and west of Louisville, so it could be picking up some hail there in the northern portion of Jefferson County. We've been tracking this as it very, very slowly moved out of Richmond County, moved down toward northwest Burke County, and now we see some strong reflectivity here in Jefferson County over Louisville. A little bit of a weak spot around the high school, and then it picks up a little bit stronger around Wadley. I know it's red all the way through there, but this particular radar sometimes overdoes it a little bit when you get in between these cells. But a cell over Wadley, clearly a cell here that just moved through Louisville, and then tracking some cells out here to the southwest, moving down toward Riddleville and Harrison. So that's they're in that southeast portion of Washington County. But the entire southern half of Washington County, including Sandersville and Tennell, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. And those cells are very, very close by, as you can see. As I mentioned, Harrison, Riddleville, Davisboro, we're seeing those strong storms in a little weak echo region here, so probably pulling in a little bit of wind. That's not really a inflow notch. That's just a big, giant area that just decided not to boil over for whatever reason. Here's another one of these storms. It just pops up out of nowhere, just north of, look at that, just almost stationary, where you have nothing, and then it just pops up just like that. So just north of Milledgeville, so this is going to be in the Log Cabin Road area near the airport, so heading toward Lake Sinclair. That's not severe, but we're going to keep an eye on that one. Boy, these severe thunderstorm warnings, they are coming in fast and furious. Let's see if we can keep track of them here. Okay, we got another one. So these are just all chained together, one after another, just all involving this ring of thunderstorms here. So we'll just cover all of them. And we'll go north to south. So that northern one, this is for northeastern Rockdale County, southwestern Walton County, northern Newton County until 11:45. Then we have a little smaller polygon there in the middle of the screen. This is for southeastern Rockdale County, west central Newton County until 12:15. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail possible with that, although not a whole lot going on here. Again, that's that little weak region that we talk about in between the cells. You can see it's fairly quiet here, but that's going to get filled in by this northern cell before you know it. So good reason to have that warning on the board. And then we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of southeastern Henry County, northeastern Butts County, and southwestern Newton County until midnight. And strong reflectivity coming in around Snapping Shoals Road, just to the north of State Highway 81. There's Maranatha Road, Wynn Road is in that area. And severe thunderstorm warning around the Atlanta Super Speedway, the formerly known as such. And this covers north central Spalding County and southwestern Henry County, also until midnight. And the heaviest of that rain beginning to move in to Hampton as we speak. So that's going to be crossing US 1941 here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. And also just checking in with our storm in DeKalb County. That's starting to show a little bit more strength as well. So that's very close to Stone Mountain, or just to the north of Stone Mountain. So above Tucker, beginning to head toward the east perimeter here, 285. So that's going to continue to move into town, and heavy rain coming down at and near Spaghetti Junction for sure. And again, that's going to be crossing 285 and going to be causing a lot of issues. We'll take a look at, we can pull up a GDOT camera over there. It's dark out, so we may not see a whole lot, but that's the bad thing about these nighttime storms. Let's see what we got. All right, maybe, let's see. So this is Shallifer Road and Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. We'll take a look at this one here. So there's live GDOT cam. Roads are wet. Doesn't look terrible there at the moment. But that's pretty close to where we have the really strong reflectivity coming in. Let me just poke around here a little bit more, see if we can find something interesting in the Doraville area, maybe. Let's see, 285 at mile marker 34. This is 285 and 85. Okay, this is a decent view here. Got somebody over here flashing the lights, so they're saying, hey, I don't know about this. So they're under the bridge there, kind of holding out and waiting on things going on. It looks like traffic moving fairly slowly there at 285 and 85 there east of Atlanta. All right. So again, thanks to GDOT. We can get all the cameras operating. It'd be great. But they do maintain a lot of cameras. Let's see. Here's another one. Another shot, just a different direction around I-85 and 285. And showing those wet roads. Yeah, still you see a few folks out there flashing their hazard lights, and then other people are just sailing along like nothing's happening. Wow, look at that ponding on the roadway there. You can see all that water splashing up. So certainly some heavy rain coming down there in DeKalb County. All right. Let's check in with our chat. And Taylor Lynn checking in. Oh my goodness, that's 32 minutes ago. I'm so sorry. We've been looking at all kinds of things. Taylor, if you're still with us, Heard County, what are the chances of things getting rough in Heard County? Well, let me just take a look at one of our other radar sites here. You know, you just got that very unstable air that will just continue to be a factor through the late night hours and overnight hours tonight. So you're certainly not out of the woods as far as severe weather is concerned, but that big cluster of storms that we're watching here moving into southeast Georgia, that's not going to be an impact at all. That's just going to continue to track toward the south, just slightly to the west of Savannah, continue moving down toward Reidsville, Vidalia area, eventually down toward Waycross. It's going to take a while to get down there. But as far as Heard County is concerned, just watching out for those pop-up thunderstorms that basically we're watching all across the state, metro Atlanta, parts of central Georgia, and southwest Georgia. So I know that doesn't answer your question exactly, but it's just going to be hard to pinpoint it. just because of the instability that we have in the atmosphere. It's a little tricky. All right. Let's see if we have any more damage reports. Anything coming in from our Weather Service partners? No other damage reports coming in. Mentioned numerous trees down in Banks County in northeast Georgia. A very strong storm that moved through that area. Just to the north of Homer up toward Baldwin in Habersham County, so multiple trees down in that area. And we had a downburst, which is just a blast of wind that can create damage. It almost looks like tornado damage sometimes, and that was around the Twiggs County, let's see, where was that? Twiggs-Wilkinson County line. So there was a possibility of 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gust with that, and that happened about 20 minutes ago. So we'll see if we get some more information on that. We do have some counties that are going to be dropped from our severe thunderstorm watch. And let's just take a look at what we currently have. All right, I mentioned a little while ago that Rabun County was going to be dropped, so it's out of there. So congratulations again going out to Rabun County. If you're a Wildcat football fan there in Rabun County, well, you're clear. Everything's good to go. Still have our watch. We're going to see some counties dropped off, but for right now, we're still showing our watch until midnight. Obviously, we're 12 minutes away from that, so we're going to see a lot of counties go away even very, very soon. And then this is our watch box for 4 a.m. So we'll see if we get some counties maybe dropped off on this one before 4 a.m. But for right now, this is covering all of South Georgia, good part of Central Georgia, all the way up to Metro Atlanta, our severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. And lots of severe thunderstorm warnings to talk about. We have a new one now issued that does cover downtown Atlanta, and this goes until 12:15. So this is going to cover basically, is this all of Fulton County in this one? A good chunk of it. So Atlanta and then north, all the way up in the North Fulton County toward Sandy Springs, you're in there. Rockdale County, northeastern Spalding County, DeKalb County, southeastern Cobb County, Henry County, northeastern Clayton County, and west central Newton County until 12:15, showing those thunderstorms all clustered together there, moving to the southwest at 20 miles per hour. So again, flooding on the roadways will be a big concern with these storms in addition to the 60 mile an hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So this covers the city of Atlanta, McDonough, Decatur, Conyers, Sandy Springs, Smyrna, Dunwoody, Stockbridge, Forest Park, Chamblee, Doraville, Clarkston, Hampton, Stone Mountain, Locust Grove, Avondale Estates, Lithonia, Pine Lake, Sunnyside, and North Decatur. Big warning polygon, and it's just covering the bases. Let me flip over to this other radar here and show you what this looks like. This makes a little bit more sense. And we can see that these storms have kind of clustered together. They were all very individual and very cellular, all kind of dancing around Atlanta. Here's downtown Atlanta here. Here's the airport. So we can see that they've all clustered together, and that's going to at least help in some way that we're going to get these storms are going to be competing against each other, trying to get that energy. So we are probably going to see some weak spots. Already starting to see one form right now over I-20. That's over Conyers in northern Rockdale County. We see a little bit of weakening there. And that's, again, because these storms are just fighting it out and battling it, and some are going to lose and some are going to win. But we can see pretty much a continuous line that starts up around Sandy Springs and then cuts off down in the south all the way down to Locust Grove. So that's a big territory there. And we had the multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, and that's just been replaced and consolidated now with one big arcing severe thunderstorm warning there, which, again, I'll run down the counties that are involved in that. It's portions of Rockdale, Newton, DeKalb, Cobb, Henry, Clayton, Fulton, and Newton counties are in that warning until 12:15. And putting this in motion, we can see that very unusual southwest motion. And just look, I mean, it started from nothing. Let me just stop this once again, because this is just so fascinating. This was the radar picture at, what time was that? 10:57. This is what it looked like at 10:57. There wasn't anything going on here in East Atlanta. We had this one cell around Jersey, Georgia, just to the southeast of Walnut Grove. That was it. That one little cell right there. And then we turn the animation on. Watch this one cell and watch what happens. Look at that. Just blows up. That's just, again, a sign that that atmosphere is ready to go. It's like a loaded gun ready to go. And that's actually what you call the forecast soundings, when you can look at the upper levels of the atmosphere, where it just looks like it doesn't take much. Just one little trigger, and that's what we had here around Jersey. And then it just spread out and became a really big system there. So really, really amazing. This is just a fascinating weather setup. And very unusual for this time of year to get this much instability in the atmosphere. And I believe we've talked about, let me just make sure we have this one. Yeah, we've been talking about that. I think that got updated just a little bit, but still watching the very heavy rain coming down now in the southern half of Washington County over toward the southern part of Jefferson County as well. A lot of that reflectivity coming in, maybe some hail. Could be seeing 1 inch in diameter hail just to the east of Harrison near Donovan there in Washington County. And decent cluster of storms in southwest Georgia. Still over Americus, and again, we're pushing these into Alabama, but nothing severe on that at the moment. And I'll tell you what we're going to do while we have just a little time here to breathe. I'm going to take a quick break. I need to update a couple of our radio partners on some of the audio portion of what we do. So I'm going to take a really quick break. Give me about 5 minutes. We'll be back here and continue our live severe weather coverage here on the Georgia Weather Net.
From the Georgia WeatherNet Storm Center, live severe weather coverage starts right now.
Yes, it continues right now. The time is 11:57. I'm meteorologist KJ Allen. Thank you for bearing with me for that quick break. And I don't have to do another radio update until 4:30. So we'll hopefully not have to be here live until 4:30. But if necessary, that's what we'll do. But I had to get some stuff done before midnight and looked at the clock here on the screen and realized it was time to get to it. So thank you again for bearing with me on that. As you know, we do more than one thing here. The updates online on Facebook and YouTube, and also radio partners throughout the state that get the information out. And so, again, thanks for allowing me to multitask here. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning just issued, so we'll get to that. This is out ahead of those storms that are moving in from the northeast now. This is going to be for northern Lawrence County, northwestern Emmanuel County, Treutlen County, and Johnson County until 12:45. This does include Dublin, Soperton, Wrightsville, East Dublin, Adrian, Dudley, Montrose, Kite, Span, Rockledge, Norristown, Mentor, Lovett, Harlow, Bruton, Gillis Springs, Donovan, Orland, and Tucker's Crossroads. Severe thunderstorm warning until 12:45. So we see our strong storms again tracking in northeast to southwest in this part of the state. Very unusual weather pattern, and these are moving at about 20 miles per hour, so rather slowly, and really heavy rain picking up over a very large area from Harrison all the way over to Wadley. This was a little bit more cellular when the storms moved through Jefferson County. Now they're moving out of Jefferson County, again moving down toward Lawrence County, and we see they're starting to clump together a little bit more, but still showing some very strong reflectivity in there. So that severe thunderstorm warning now on the board. Severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for portions of Emmanuel, Washington, Johnson, and Jefferson County until 12:30. And then checking out our storms moving into Statesboro, we see our strongest reflectivity on both sides of Statesboro. So just past through Portal, we're showing the possibility of some hail here. And then heading out toward the Savannah River there, we're looking at some, I'm sorry, not Savannah River, but heading out over toward Screven County there, Effingham County. Well, I'm getting all out of whack. It's moved out of Screven, now moving along the Effingham-Bullitt County line. We see our strong reflectivity there, indicating that we could be seeing some hail. So that's going to be moving down toward Stilson and then moving toward Brooklet. But it does look like these two cells are kind of going to split between Statesboro. So heavy rain, that wind picked up very strong in Statesboro and over the Georgia Southern campus. But the strongest reflectivity in our hail looks like we'll be staying up toward the north and then to the south as it continues to track through Bullitt County. So at least some good news for folks in Statesboro. A little different story for Portal and Brooklet on both sides. All right, let me get to our storm around Fitzgerald. Put this one in motion. There's that really southwest motion on this one. And we have the speed at 15 miles per hour. So that is moving into Fitzgerald as we right there on the Ben Hill, Irwin County line. And that is a severe warned storm, so that does cover Irwinville. And it looks like it's going to stay to the south of Rebecca, maybe just above Mystic as it moves through. But that is right on top of Fitzgerald and going to be moving right over the top of town. It's already picking up, the rain's picking up, and it's only going to get heavier over the next few minutes. We have our severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Macon, Peach, Crawford, Taylor County. This is until 12:15, and the possibility of that quarter-size hail with this storm and 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. Very heavy rain from Fort Valley down to Marshallville, just to Montezuma. And this will be moving. This looks kind of hard to tell because this just, again, popped out of nowhere, really right along just east of I-75. And then starting to get that momentum going. It looks almost like it's moving to the northwest just a little bit. But I think when it's all said and done, this is probably going to be mainly a west-moving storm. So this will be moving in toward Butler, over to Rupert, And Reynolds right now picking up heavy rain as well as it's moving through Fort Valley, beginning to move out of Fort Valley now. So heading through the western portion of Peach County. And checking out our storm system up in metro Atlanta. This is a big one. We had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings when this storm was more cellular, as it just popped up out of nowhere. And then the Weather Service said, you know what, we're just going to group them all together and call it a day. So we have our severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Rockdale, Spalding, DeKalb, Cobb, Henry, and Clayton County. And let's put this in motion to see if it's getting any worse. And let me turn off the polygons, because that just throws me off completely. And last few scans, looks like the intensification is going to be just to the southwest of Covington. So heading out in portions of western Newton County now, west of Porterdale, west of Covington. That's going to be your strongest portion of the storm. And now south of I-20. And that's that little weak spot there that we mentioned over Rockdale County around Conyers. So it's still heavy, still considered severe, but we can see there's kind of a border here between our cell here down toward Covington, and then what's going on up here more toward DeKalb County. Just a little bit of a weak spot over Rockdale County. So I'm sure no complaints about that. Let's put the polygons back up. Again, no tornado warnings. We haven't had a single one tonight with any of these storms as they moved in from South Carolina into Georgia. We're not expecting any tornado warnings. That's one thing I know a lot of people want to know about that. We're going to have tornadoes. Very, very low end. We can't say zero ever. You can't ever say that in weather, because as soon as you do, you're going to be proven wrong. But this is about as low of a tornado threat as you can possibly get. This is mainly going to be strong winds and hail. And we have a couple of little cells here trying to get back together again. I know we have lots of folks checking in from Wilkes County. I mentioned the severe risk is fairly low, but we are showing a couple of strong cells here. So just to the northeast of Rail, we have a cell here in eastern Oglethorpe County, just to the east of Lexington above Highway 78. So these two cells are fairly strong, not severe, but we're going to continue to push these on through. Rain beginning to pick up in Washington as well, but nothing severe, and hopefully we'll keep these storms relatively calm as they move through that area. Another little cell trying to pop up around Nelson and Ball Ground, moving into northern Cherokee County. Not severe, but worth keeping an eye on. This is our cluster of storms that we're watching. I've been watching it as it moved into Columbia, South Carolina, and knew this was going to be an issue as it crossed into Georgia. And it is, producing that heavy rain from Wadley, Sandersville, Tennell, up to the northwest, and then stretching all the way down into Bullitt County, now cutting right through the middle of Bullitt County. We have a new warning that's been issued, so this is going to be for portions of Evans County and Bryan County. South Bullitt County's in there, Candler, Liberty, and Long counties. This is going to go until 1 a.m. Severe thunderstorm warning for the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. And let me check in, because we had some damage reports coming in from some emergency management offices. Let me see what we have on this. Yeah, some hail reported just about 15 minutes ago in the Stilson community there in southeast Bullitt County. And looking for wind reports, trees reported down in Screven County. And is that about it as far as damage reports? So that's all that we have. As far as any wind damage reports in southeast Georgia, is multiple trees down in Screven County. So we'll continue to monitor that. And here's a new one. So severe thunderstorm warning for southwestern Wilkinson County and central Twiggs County until 12:45. So this is for the storm right over the radar site in Jeffersonville. So obviously Jeffersonville, you're in, Irwinton, Marion, District Path, Myrick's Mill, Fitzpatrick, and Ripley under a severe thunderstorm warning. Going to be a little hard to get all the details on this storm because, again, it is right over the radar site is just to the south of Jeffersonville. And so it's trying to look up as high as it can, and you can't really get a great angle when you get so close to the radar site. Get incredible detail, but you don't get a whole lot of the upper levels of the storm, so a little harder to see the hail that could be forming and things of that nature. And good thunderstorm activity there in portions of Houston County, but nothing severe at the moment. That's along the Houston-Twiggs County line here with very heavy rain just south of Warner-Robins. All right, let's see what else we have here. Got another severe thunderstorm warning about to be issued. Let's see, we've already talked about this one. Well, we'll just hit it again because this is a pretty large area. This is for a pretty significant part of the storm. So northern Lawrence County, northwestern Emmanuel County, Trutland County, and Johnson County until 12:45 under a severe thunderstorm warning. And just trying to figure out which one got pinged for another warning coming out, and I'm looking to see where that would be. May still be awaiting the details on that. Okay, did I already get that one? Wilkes, yeah, okay, so that's the one we just got. So this one, our latest one, so for portions of Wilkinson and Twiggs County, I already mentioned that one, but we'll just talk about it again. This goes until 12:45, possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail with this storm. And we may have just lost the data from that radar site just because it's getting just inundated with the heavy rain. So let's flip over and we'll take a look at another site and track our storms moving through Bullitt County. Well, there it is. Very, very slow, but patience pays off there. All right, let's take a look at our storms here moving through Bullitt County. So things are starting to get a little bit quieter now in Statesboro. Again, the Statesboro itself kind of split the difference between the heavy rain and the possibility of some hail there in South Bullock and then up in northern Bullitt County. So now things are starting to get quiet, but as we get down into parts of southwest Bullitt County and the Register area, heading over into Candler County, we are looking at the heavy rain coming down. And speaking of Register, so just to the southeast of Register, possibility of maybe some small hail there just east of US 25 heading toward I-16. And that portion of southern Bullitt County is really under 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and then we extend this warning all the way down here past Glenville, all the way to Ludowici. So this has portions of Bryan, Bullitt, Candler, Evans, Liberty, and Long County, Tattnall County in there as well until 1 a.m. So a ways to go. And this atmosphere is ripe for the thunderstorms to keep these things going, although they don't look as impressive, especially this portion here over Bullitt County just doesn't look as impressive as it did when it was in South Carolina. Now heading up toward Washington County and southern Jefferson County, a little different story. Heading in toward Swainsboro, this still looks pretty strong there. Looks like some very heavy rain still coming in. So we do have our severe thunderstorm warning down into Lawrence County, including Dublin. And we're talking about this strong reflectivity coming into Bleckley County, or moving out of Bleckley. Here we see maybe some hail there. moving into Houston County. All right, we're going to try, let's see if we can pull up Atlanta radar data again. Last time this happened, everything crashed. We're going to try it again. Maybe just be patient this time, but I really want to track the storms here moving into Atlanta because this looks like it's closing in closer to the downtown area. Yeah, this data usually loads way quicker. Yeah, it's gonna be, something's not right here. So let's go to the backup radar here and take a look at it. So things look actually not as bad inside the perimeter. It's kind of looking here. So there's downtown, Midtown, and you head up I-85. I mean, this is not all that bad there moving into North Fulton County, coming out of DeKalb County. It does get a little heavier as we go south of I-20. So we're showing a hail marker just to the east of Snapfinger in DeKalb County. Could be picking up a 1-inch diameter hail. And then down along the DeKalb-Henry County line is where the strongest the reflectivity is. So this is really our most severe portion of our severe thunderstorm warned storm. So this was multiple clusters that all came together. And now the bulk of it's right here in the center portion in southern DeKalb County. And I'll put this in motion. You see this is going to be tracking to the southwest. So the heaviest of the rain looks like we'll miss downtown, but this is going to be moving right toward the airport though. So that is going to be something to consider. And we may just have to stick with the backup radar. I'm not sure because the other radar here is giving me a little bit of issue. There we go. Just reloading this up again. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go full screen with this. This is going to be for southeastern Wilkins County, northwestern Lawrence County, and southwestern Washington County. This is roughly in this same area that we've already been talking about, but this is another part of the cell here that they want to warn. This goes until 12:45. This is for the cell near Toomsboro, about 9 miles east of Irwinton, moving to the southwest at 25 miles per hour. So this covers Dudley, the community of Oconee, Danville, Montrose, Allentown, Chappell's Mill, and Nicholsville. And again, this is the polygon we're talking about here. This links up with the one that covers Dublin, northern Lawrence County, and then the other warning that we talked about for portions of Wilkinson County and into Twiggs County. So this just kind of connects all these together because we're just watching this overall big mess of storms tracking this way. So they're just putting it all together. No surprise on that one. And we've been talking about these storms and how close they're going to make it to Savannah. Charleston radar's down now. My goodness. We're running out of options. Let's see. Yeah, this may be our best shot. Unfortunately, out of our Jeffersonville radar, things start to we lose a little bit of strength down towards Savannah. But it does look like most of this stayed to the west of 95. As I mentioned, 95 is going to be pretty close to the dividing line of where we're going to keep these storms. So we do have some more rain moving in. And again, our radar is sort of downplaying the intensity of this rain coming out of Beaufort heading into Savannah. But it is there, but it's not severe and it doesn't look very, very heavy. The heaviest of the rain is well up to the northwest of Savannah. So I think things are going to be fairly calm. There's going to be rain. It's going to be fairly heavy, but it's not going to be as heavy as it could be, and it doesn't look like hail or severe variety coming into Savannah. So that's good news. But that's mainly right up on I-16 now, crossing over I-16 as we speak. And some very heavy rain coming down here in northern Evans County. So we see the strong reflectivity coming out of Bullitt County, southeast Candler County, northwest Evans County is where we have that strong reflectivity. Maybe some hail. Let's take a look. Let's see. Some of these storms have surprised us and not, you would think we'd see, yeah, okay, we do see some hail possible in there. So there's that little hail core that's just straddling the Candler, Bullock, Evans County line right there. And maybe a little bit of hail interspersed with this cutting through South Bullock. We did have a report, as I mentioned, around the Stilson community of some hail there in southeast Bullitt County. So not a surprise. Just based on what we see on radar. And our cluster of storms from Americus to Perry to Warner Robins, I mean, that looks pretty ominous there, but nothing severe. Just little pockets here and there. You can see these little splotches of purple in there amongst the red. So those are those individual cells that are still all embedded in this overall cluster, and they're just fighting for whatever energy that they can get going. And sometimes they just beat each other up way too much. All right, let's see what we have. This one's new? Yeah, this one came out 5 minutes ago. So severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Spalding County, southwestern DeKalb County, northeastern Fayette County, northeastern Pike County, Henry County, Clayton County, and south central Fulton County. This is for that cluster of storms that's still showing some strength. As I mentioned, in southern DeKalb County, there it is, with that really strong reflectivity. That's going to be around Snapfinger Road, Highway 212, moving in toward that southern portion of DeKalb County, around the Henry County line, right there in the center of the storm. But this warning now, it's obviously covers a big area because it's covering all this entire cluster. So this is going to now take us into parts of South Metro Atlanta. Do we have, yeah, the airport is in there, College Park, Douglasville, Jonesboro, South Fulton, East Point, Stockbridge, Locust Grove, Hapeville, Hampton, Morrow, Avondale Estates. Been doubled up on a warning. Still under a warning. Lake City, Williamson under a severe thunderstorm warning. And this will take us until 12:45 for this one. So we'll keep following this. And yeah, we're showing some very, very good reflectivity there on the Henry DeKalb County line. Now, mainly south of I-20, so at least travel on I-20. Take a look at some webcams here. Let's see what it looks like out east of town. Got to find one that works. All right, maybe this one will work. So this is around the East Lake area, Memorial Drive, Candler Road area, east of Atlanta. There you go. We'll watch the cars speeding through the intersection there, and just we'll see how much splash they get as they move through the intersection there. Memorial Drive and Candler Road. Yeah, pretty good amount of rain on the roadways. And the traffic lights aren't moving a whole lot, so maybe not a whole lot of wind involved there, but still a lot of rain on the roadways. So hopefully people are driving carefully, because that rain really came down. Let's see what else we can find. Boulder Crest Road, Continental Way. Let's see how it's looking. There's a good flash of lightning for you. So this is just to the south of that really strong reflectivity. So this is near I-285 there, Boulder Crest Road, Continental Way in DeKalb County. And we'll see if we can see, yeah, more lightning flashing there. You got to look at the top of the screen. You can see that. All right, so again, thanks to the Georgia Department of Transportation for providing the webcam footage there. Let's see what it looks like on I-675. Yeah, a little hard to see here. A little grainy. Road looks fairly dry there on 675, but there are the flashes of lightning. All right. So let's get back to radar. Take a look at our storms around the area. This big cluster of storms, what we've been following all night as it moved through South Carolina, crossed into Georgia, still holding together. Multiple storms here, all just clustered together. Multi-cellular complex here is what we have going on. So with that, lots of severe thunderstorm warnings all the way down to Hinesville, Georgia, stretching all the way up to around Wilkinson County, Irwinton area in central Georgia. And just taking a look at another cell here, tell you what, around Dooley County, now we have in southeast Dooley County, big strong thunderstorm going, not severe technically, but they've been getting a lot of very strong thunderstorms throughout the evening. So this is just another round coming through. And this one looks like it may have just formed out around Pineview. Yeah, look at that. I mean, maybe just inside Dooley County, this one formed and went strong fairly quickly. So we'll see, may get a warning out of that one. And I'm just watching the webcam over here, that same one off of I-675. Again, it doesn't look like it's raining a whole lot over there, but it does look like the lightning is really flashing. I can just see those flashes that keep popping up. So we'll just wait another second here. There it is. Look at that lightning. Woo-wee. So quite a lightning show going on there in South Metro Atlanta and throughout the state. We'll take a look at that storm again. There it is. That strong reflectivity now coming into northern Henry County, beginning to move toward Clayton County. And so going to be seeing a ground stop, I'm sure, very soon at the airport. Power outages across the state, not bad. 263 active outages, so that's not bad at all. We sometimes see that on a sunny day. So that covers about 24,000 customers. That's Georgia Power. We're not counting the EMCs on that, but a lot of times EMCs have roughly the same number. But considering all the wind, especially up in northeast Georgia, up in Habersham and Banks County, that's not a bad number at all. So hopefully we'll keep those numbers low because we don't need to be without air conditioning tomorrow. It's going to be another hot and humid day across the state and another chance of strong to severe thunderstorms as well. While we have a little break in the action, let me just clear this off and show you what the Storm Prediction Center is looking like. This is our outlook that takes us until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. There's that level 3 out of 5 severe weather risk. Obviously, we have our severe weather that's already tracked down in the parts of southeast Georgia. The level 2 out of 5 severe weather risk continues for the rest of South Georgia, parts of West Georgia. And then after 8 a.m., it looks like this. Level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk covers pretty much the entire state. Little portion here of Savannah, down to Brunswick, outside of that, but anywhere else in the state, we could see those thunderstorms start to fire up in the afternoon. We have a little more cloud cover as we move through your day on Thursday, which will help keep our temperatures down just a bit, which will be good news. It's still going to be very hot, very humid. Still going to have those heat index values over 100 degrees, so it's going to feel very, very hot out there, and it's going to be tough, especially if you've been working outside over the last couple of days. And know you're getting worn out, and it's going to be another hot and humid one. And here's our severe weather outlook for Friday. So once again, level 1 out of 5 severe weather risk covers most of the state of Georgia with the exception of coastal Georgia. That's the general thunderstorm risk along the coastline. We'll see if this gets upgraded, but probably not, because again, we're going to be winding down our temperatures just a little bit. So in places that saw temperatures around 100, tomorrow will be more like mid-90s. Then we head into Friday, we head into the weekend, we'll start seeing some upper 80s. So a little bit of relief. Still going to be pretty uncomfortable though, but at least it's getting a little bit better, right? All right, let's see what we have. All right, new severe thunderstorm warning for South Metro Atlanta. So this is going to be for north central Spalding County, Fayette County, southwestern Henry County, northeastern Coweta County, Clayton County, and southwestern Fulton County. And this is until 1 a.m. Showing those thunderstorms from Lake City to Irondale to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Echo Park, moving west at 25 miles per hour. We do have the potential of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail with this with these storms. So this is just extending out this polygon that we have here. It's basically taking the center portion of that, because as we've been talking about, this is where the bulk of the activity is right here in the middle part of this storm. So that's why we have this extending out. We're expecting this nasty part of the storm to continue moving south of the airport toward Peachtree City, eventually over toward I-85. And just give you some times here. The current time is 12:28, so we're going to be looking at College Park about 12:39, Riverdale 12:47, Fayetteville at 1, Union City 1:03. And I'm just checking through our storms here in southeast Georgia, see if anything has been added. Don't see it. That's good. Emily's checking in. Jackson, are you talking about the city of Jackson? Or, well, I would imagine the city of Jackson. Raining and now pouring in Jackson, Georgia. Let's zoom in a little bit closer and take a look at the South Metro area. So I see, well, it was there a second ago. There we go. So yeah, so kind of in this little quiet spot here right in Jackson, but there's that cell coming in. That's where that rain's starting to pick up and then really coming down heavy. But the good news is the heaviest rain is out to the east of you, and right now is right over I-75. So this is moving from west to east, unlike most of our storms that we track that move completely the opposite direction. So after we get this part of the cell here over Jackson, we'll get that on out of here. So again, I'm assuming you're talking about the city of Jackson and not Jackson County, but based on your report coming in, I believe that's right, because up in Jackson County, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on at all. A little bit of rain up around Commerce, Banks Crossing area, and then Jefferson's got a little light shower, but not going on. Not a lot going on there. Here in Georgia, we make things super complicated by having cities and counties with the same name, and then we just put them far enough apart to make it inconvenient. Kathy checking in from Metter, where it's better. And let's see how your storms are doing over in Metter. Kind of in the middle of it right now. Looks like you kind of dodged that biggest part of this cell that moved through the register area as it crossed into Candler County. So still some decent rainfall coming down, but that's starting to lighten up as we speak. Your wind should be dying down there as well. And once that's through, on the backside, there's just that nice steady rain. So you just go to bed and listen to the rainfall and enjoy that, because that's the best way to sleep. But your severe weather risk, at least from Metter and then north up through Candler County, is over. Still looking at some very strong reflectivity here in southeast Candler County, just south of I-16, and that's where our warning polygon cuts off. But the warning for the rest of Candler County and up in the Bullitt County is all clear now. So enjoy the rest of your evening. And let me just check in with our YouTube channel. Again, we're on YouTube as well, so if you find it easier to get the stream on YouTube, maybe you can pop it up on your TV or whatever the case may be, by all means, check us out, Georgia WeatherNet on YouTube, and that's kind of a new feature around here, which is great. Melody Dawn, thank you for following the page. Appreciate it, as well as Jonathan Lester. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you letting everyone else know about our live coverage here on the Georgia WeatherNet. Always go live with tornado warnings. That's not going to be the case tonight or through the overnight hours. But with this, just watching this cluster of storms that had that considerable tag on it as it moved through South Carolina, which means 70-mile-an-hour wind gust plus. It just looked really, really ugly, so I wanted to make sure I was here and had you covered through the overnight hours or late night hours, and yeah, a little bit of the overnight hours. Hopefully not going to be here all night long, but I'll be here as long as necessary. New severe thunderstorm warning now out for northwestern Wayne County, central Jeff Davis County, and Appling County until 1:15. And that's part of that big, ugly cluster of storms that we've been talking about. So this is just extending that warning down to the southwest here. So all of our storms here moving out of Statesboro through Claxton, as I mentioned, moving out of Candler County, continuing to track down to the southwest. So these storms are moving at about 35 miles per hour. We have the possibility of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail with this storm system. This does include Baxley, Hazelhurst, you're in there, Graham, Surrency, Odom, and Pine Grove in this severe thunderstorm warning. And here's another big one. And same strategy on this one right here. This is just an extension because of this same cluster of storms moving down to the southwest. So we have this big warning polygon. Let's talk about it. This is for southwestern Wilkinson County, Lawrence County, Dodge County, central Pulaski County, southern Twiggs County, north central Telfair County, southwestern Treutlen County, Bleckley County, eastern Houston County, Wheeler County, and northwestern Montgomery County. Wow. That's a lot of counties, right? Big area for a big storm. This goes until 1:30. Line of thunderstorms from near Danville to near Dudley to Lowry, moving southwest at 30 miles per hour. We have the potential of 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail with this system. And this does include Dublin and Perry, Dexter and Dudley, and Chauncey, Scotland, Rents, you're in there, Mount Vernon, Jeffersonville, Warner Robins, Helena. Just to name a few. So let's put this in motion. And we see these storms moving southwest. Get about 35 miles per hour or so is the speed on these, digging into South Georgia. Still very warm, humid air. Let me pull up the temperatures just see what our current temperatures are at this hour. Yeah, it's still very warm. Still showing those 80s here. So this area where these storms are moving into, I'm trying to zoom in. Come on now. Here we go. So still showing 82 degrees in Alma. Fitzgerald's at 77. Jessup is at 81. We have 81 up in Savannah. Long County 81. So yeah, so still very warm, humid air. It's 12:35 in the morning, and we're still showing those temperatures in the low 80s. And really, looking up in the middle Georgia, Milledgeville at 84. So that warm air still a big factor in even parts of central Georgia. And if you know me at all, you know I can't look at the temperature without looking at the dew point. It's my favorite. Because this is really what gives you the sign, do we have the severe weather potential? Is this one of the things you need? You need the moisture. And all you need is this dew point above 56. That's kind of the cutoff number. It's pretty hard to get severe weather when it gets below 56. But when you get into the 70s, that's very, very muggy, uncomfortable air. You just don't want to do anything when you have a dew point above 70. And we have it in the low 70s here in South Georgia, upper 70s. Look at that, 77. Where is that? Is that in... That's in Dublin. So a 77-degree dew point in Dublin right now. Ugh, that's miserable. 77 over in Brunswick. That's not uncommon along the coast with all that moisture. So that just gives you another sign. We have the heat, we have the humidity, and we have a lot more instability in the atmosphere than we normally have this time of year. So that's why we're looking at these severe thunderstorms very late at night / early in the morning. Take a look at our South Atlanta storms. See where they're at right now. So right over Stockbridge, continuing to track toward I-75 and 675. Looking to see if we have, let's see what we have as far as any traffic cam footage. Let's see. We'll go. Yeah, we'll see if we can get something near Stockbridge, the Stockbridge exit. This is not a great video, but I want to show it to you anyway because you can see how much rain is out there. The camera is just pretty much blocked by the rain. So that was near the 675 split. Here's Clayton County. So this is Highway 138. Maybe it'll pop up. Or maybe not. Had high hopes for that one. So we'll take a look just inside Henry County. Again, very close to the 675 split. And we see the water splashing up there on the right side lanes. And there's the flash of lightning. So this is just south of Stockbridge on I-75. That's what we're looking at here at Highway 138. All right. So again, thanks to Georgia 511, GDOT traffic cams, allowing us to take a little peek at what's going on out on the roads. And south of Locust Grove, let's see what else we have going on here. See what it's looking like. Let's see how Locust Grove is looking. All right, so this is near Locust Grove in Henry County. Another look at All right, thank you for that update. And I ran out of battery, so I'll tell you what, we're going to change batteries. And that happens when you've been talking for forever. So on the backup microphone here, let me flip over here and give me just a second, and I'll get the battery pack replaced, and we'll get back to business again. All right. So if you're just joining us, been talking for so long, the old batteries ran out on the microphone, so we'll go to the old microphone here that
Doesn't require any batteries. We'll just go old school here for a little bit longer. Actually going to end the broadcast here in just a little bit because we are seeing these storms. They're still severe, still a number of severe thunderstorms on the board. Let me go over to our other radar. Just loading up the data. And really just watching the storms, mainly in southeast Georgia, around the Statesboro area. And, yeah, again, I think we've lost the radar data out of Jeffersonville just because of that strong storm that came through. So we'll just we'll find something that works. There we go. All right, Valdosta for the win. Thank you so much. All right, so here's what we have. Get the severe, the considerable tag, which we had on these storms as they were moving out of South Carolina. Haven't seen that in any of these latest warnings as they moved into Georgia. So these are severe, but they're not as strong as they were when they were moving through South Carolina. So that is some good news. And we see our storms that are just right along I-16 now, crossing I-16. So our severe weather risk above I-16 has dropped off considerably. And they're just cruising up 16 to Macon and then kind of cruising up I-75 from there. So really south of I-16, south and west of I-75, that's where our main severe weather focus is going to continue for the next several hours. Severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect for this entire area until 4 a.m. We've had multiple counties dropped off of the watch. We can go full screen with that and show you where that is. So the watch area over from Dahlonega down to Athens, to Eatonton, to Milledgeville, Sandersville. This is now in effect until 2 a.m., but those counties in extreme northeast Georgia along the South Carolina line, they have been dropped from the watch. But the watch that was supposed to go till midnight got extended another couple of hours, and then we have the rest of the area there, that larger watch area from Atlanta down to Columbus, to Cairo, to Albany, to Blakely, Douglas, Vidalia, Statesboro, Savannah, Brunswick. You're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. Another severe thunderstorm warning coming out. Let's see what we have here. Yes. All right, so here it is. This is going to be for southeastern Spalding County, northeastern Pike County, western Monroe County, northeastern Upson County, southwestern Butts County, and Lamar County until 1:15. We're showing that heavy rain coming down over I-75. We've been talking about that all the way up just south of Locust Grove, down to Forsyth and Smar, almost to Bolingbroke, beginning to move down toward Bibb County. But Bibb County, you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning area. But portions of Spalding, Pike, Monroe, Upson, Butts, Lamar County, you're in there. And these storms, again, unusual motion there, moving to the southwest, coming in from the northeast to southwest, and starting to make a bit of that turn toward the west. So these are going to continue to cross I-75, heading over toward Barnesville, toward Yatesville, Topeka Junction, Milner. Storms are moving your way. But again, no real tornado threat here. We are showing a couple of hail markers now between Allentown and Montrose, possibility of inch and a quarter size hail. And just to the southeast of Bullard could see inch and quarter size hail. Right over US 23 near the Bullard community in southern Twiggs County. So you're under that warning. And hail, along with those strong winds, are going to be your main hazards there. So let me just check with make sure we're not missing anything. And I'm probably going to go ahead and end the broadcast. If we have any of these storms that get more of that considerable, get up to the 70-mile-an-hour wind gust range, I'll break in. We'll go live again. But other than that, I think that we're just going to be looking at our standard severe thunderstorms. And again, south of I-16, you still are going to be experiencing these storms. So a long way to go for Fitzgerald and Abbeville and Ashburn, Tifton, Douglas. We've had those pop-up thunderstorms throughout the evening, and now we're watching that main line that we've been tracking will be heading your way. And then parts of west central Georgia as well. So we have the heavy rain in Roberta and Knoxville, Butler right now, but still heading out toward Ellaville. Americus could see another round of some strong thunderstorms again. Sumter County already saw some severe thunderstorms, but now this main line moves through. And then things are super quiet. If you're north of I-20, you are done. Everything is just going to get quieter as we move through the night. We'll see some more showers here and there, but the severe weather risk is just continuing to fade away. And then things are also going to improve between I-20 and I-16. So again, thank you so much for joining us here on the Georgia Weather Net. I appreciate your likes, your shares, your comments, and interacting with the page. And I'll be right here watching the radar. If things get a little sketchy again, I will certainly break in and bring you that live coverage here on the Georgia Weather Net. Good night and God bless.